What's up, everybody? While I'm getting myself settled in and everything like that, got my tea brewing in the background. I just slipped my my dog a CBG. For those that don't know, CBG is basically like CBD in nugget form because my dog has been spazzing. He decided to run into the woods and chased off Todd off of the Fox and the Hound. At one point, Fox was huge, y'all. Fox was, I thought Dash wasn't gonna make it. Dash chased this fox off. For some odd reason, he was feeling kind of ballsy. So he's like, I'm going to go chase this fox. I'm going to chase this fox off, and I'm going to let him know that I'm not the one of the two. You heard me? But today should be a very interesting day. Yeah, it was Queen Maya. It was interesting to say the least. He was happy chasing that fox. He was like literally like run like prancing. Like it was interesting. I'm like in group therapy at this time. I'm in therapy as he decides to run off and everything like that because he was making all these noises in the house. That fox made him mad. I don't know what he did. He probably like peed on his tree or something like that. I don't know. It was not pleasing to him. So when Dash got out the house, he wanted to let everybody know this is my house. I grew up here. I don't appreciate my woods being trifled with. He chased Todd off. He was like, "You ain't like your cousin Tails, Miles Tails Prowler. You don't get up out of here." So he chased my man off. You know what I'm saying? He was throwing up the little doggy like gang signs and everything like that. I don't know. It was entertaining to say the least. Now he's chilling out. I got his heart rate down. I gave him some oatmeal with the CBG nugget in it. He over here laid out on laminate hardwood floor. You know what I'm saying? He's getting himself settled in. Amongst other things. I think I might have gave him a little too much. I think I might have broke him off a little bit too much because at one point he was drooling. So let's just hope that he does not let's just hope that he didn't live his last year with us this evening. And by live his last year, I mean he goes into one of those weird comas and he coughs really hard because he's 14 years old, and we end up having to have a burial. So the moral of the story here is stop chasing foxes. We got giants to kill. And I'm gonna drop the intro real quick.
They threw my ancestors in the ocean. Now we became the new wave, and we're about to drown this system. Every time I go in, every time I go in, every time I go in, boy, I'm jamming. Every time I go in, every time I go in, every time I go in, boy, I'm jamming. I'm a kid, I'm a kid, I'm a kid, man. I'm jamming. I'm a kid, I'm a kid, I'm a kid, man. I'm jamming.
Oh my gosh. Relax, bro. Oh my goodness. My bad, y'all. So I forgot that my sound was coming through my monitors, and apparently the sound freaked Dash out, y'all. I mean, like, freaked the poor thing out. I mean, he done ran. I mean, ran like somebody broke into the house. Y'all didn't see it. It was quite funny. It was interesting to say the least. You all right? Please calm down. It's okay. You're fine. I'm not taking you to the farm. You're good. You know what I'm saying? We're not putting two in you. I say two because I don't want zombie dogs. We're in a pandemic. That's besides the point. Welcome everybody to the Kid Casper podcast. I'm your gracious, beautiful, blessed, beloved, and black host, the kid that they call Casper. The KID in Kid Casper stands for that king of development. I'm that menace with the melanin. Reject me as I am, as long as he's still relevant. This is your first time tuning in today. Hello. I'm the kid that they call Casper. I'm a Christian content creator, Christian raptivist. Yes, rapper / activist. I love Jesus. I am super far from a pacifist. You know what I'm saying? I'm a graphic designer, clothing apparel owner, taco enthusiast. I really love tacos. I had some tacos the other night. They was smacking. I mean, smacking like there should have been served restraining order papers. That's besides the point. But they were some good tacos. They were really, really some good tacos. They had like this like weird pickled cabbage you add to the mix, and then you actually put a little bit of honey in it. I trusted this El Salvadorian woman. Her name was Margarita. Not even kidding. Her name was Margarita. They were some really good tacos, y'all. Anyways, did I say what I say? I say slapping or did I say smacking? Either or, it was an assault charge. Second degree, first degree, who knows? That's up for debate. But tonight should be an interesting conversation. I started the beginning of this year kind of doing like a reflection piece, giving y'all my good, my bad, my ugly after everything that happened last summer with me being doxed, blasted, having my dirty laundry with skid marks, everything in that getting dragged through the mud and everything like that. And it's been an interesting journey, to say the least. It's been an interesting journey to not only have this happen, to, I would say, establish and cultivate, cultivate and steward my identity in Christ, as a Black man in the society, as a mental health advocate, as an activist, all these things that bleed into my existence, to who y'all know today as the king in development, as the kid that they call Casper, as Mr. Lee with love, and all those things. And I think this will be an interesting lesson to kind of talk about, but it'll also be like a reflection piece to lament a little bit. Have somebody that, you know, having people, you know, chime in if they want to. I'll drop the link in the Patreon for those that may want to join in and everything like that on this conversation, and kind of give people the floor, the space to kind of like as observance of like what they've seen over the last year. I would say like since September of last summer, and kind of let them share their thoughts and everything like that. So far, my guest, I say guest, but I can't say guest because he's a friend of the channel and everything like that. I got my boy Coach Kyle. He's originally Coach Kyle from the Bronx. I know he resides in the A right now. One of the personalities, one of the commentators on the 4 out of 5 podcast. How you doing today, brother? How's everything treating you today?
Everything's going pretty good, man. Can't complain. I'm happy to be here.
Up. Cool. And can we talk about how? Okay, so Coach Kyle hasn't been here since like March, right? Coach Kyle decided he just is gonna start loving himself since the last time I seen him on screen, and this man's been getting cut the F up. Look at this man. Good God. His beard's glowing. Look at him. His hairline looks full. You know what I'm saying? Like, is the patch still there? Is the patch still what's going on with the patch? Is the patch there? Is it gone? Like, what's happening with it?
It's being worked on.
It's under reconstruction. Got it. It's under
yeah, man.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm just using I'm using some oils. I actually got my mom to help me. She has some Jamaican black castor oil from Jamaica, actually the country of Jamaica, and that supposedly helps with the any bald spots that you got. So if you're having hair issues, that's a good investment to look into.
Right. I'm not there yet. My only hair issue is I'm kind of getting to this place, and I don't know if you've heard this this rationalization I came up with. I'm in this place where I really want locks, but I want to wait till either I'm 30 or I want to wait till I get married. And I don't know what's sooner, but I get kind of tired of the upkeep of it in a sense. Other people would say they're jealous of my hair. I'm like, I don't really think it's that big of a deal, but I mean, I'd really rather not be bald. And when I have shorter hair personally, there's more of an upkeep. So I was just like, just give her to the sides, everything grow up top. You know, I get it. I look like a brown skinned Angry Bird from time to time. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what style I use and everything like that. But that's, you know, play with your mama, not me. Keep your comments to yourself. But
I mean,
Coach Kyle,
the look suits you though.
Huh? It does. I would think so. You know what I'm saying? I'm not where you are yet as far as like being physically fit where I can fill all the crevices in my clothes and I don't put stretch marks in my t-shirts like you do. My goodness. Chiseled out of stone. I can't stand it. But yeah, man. Since it's been a good bit, since you've been on here and everything like that, you know, for those that may remember when you were on here the last time, I think it was the level 1 episode, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, tell us just, you know, while we're kind of catching up a little bit, because it's also been a while since I've talked to you vocally like this. But what's going on with you, man? What's been going on since the last time you was on the pod?
Well, a lot. I'm still doing Uber, but now I'm at a point where I like life just kept hitting me like with, you know, 1-2 punches each and every time that it had the opportunity to do so. So I decided that I wasn't going to take it anymore, and I just said, okay, life, I'm gonna start hitting back, and I started hitting the gym. Well, not hitting the gym. I started to build up my own gym at my house, just picking up weights whenever I can, going out doing they call it Facebook Marketplace, just doing something like that, getting weights, picking up whenever I can, working out at home. Found myself a trainer that does martial arts, so I'm learning how to fight now. Practicing my acting, you know, voiceover acting in particular, and just trying to do stuff with the 4 out of 5 podcast, cutting up some of the clips and posting on Instagram and YouTube. Just trying to do whatever I think is necessary in order to be successful, because at some point you have to decide whether or not you want to be successful in your life. And I just decided that I was going to be successful regardless of what anybody's had to say about it.
Now, I definitely get that. It's funny. I hit this moment sometime, like I think it was Friday, where I've been really trying to apply knowing my worth and adding taxes to it. And I took a leap of faith with just a client, because, you know, I do like graphic designing and everything like that. And I was like, now you set these prices. I was like, Cass, you set these prices. Now it's time to double down. And my man was like, I was doing this commission request for. He's like, what's the price? I was like, it's XXXXX. He was like, okay, cool. I'll send it over by Wednesday. And I was just like, oh, okay, nice. Did not expect that to go as smooth as it did. But I think for me, it's sometimes I feel like, and I have a bar on one of my songs on my album is, you know, for me, the hardest thing is getting out of my head, this mental prison that hide behind these bars, that he is truly risen. And one of the things I'm always telling people is sometimes we allow whether the circumstances that we're looking at or what's going on in our head to lock us away in like these certain stages in our life where we become stagnant, kind of like the man that didn't take up his mat. Jesus didn't heal him. He was just like, take your mat up. You got to move. You got to do something. You got to do something different. And, you know, I'm trying to break that cycle of insanity. I'm trying to break this I can't do it attitude as I'm wearing a Nike sweatsuit collab with my marathon gear on my joggers. That's besides the point. But yeah, man, I'm really trying to get out of that. And I think this will it also ties into what we'll be talking about today, as far as like this like reflection piece of everything. And on the subject matter of when we're discussing the title of this episode is titled Broken. But the way that I have it like constructed and everything is okay is in the middle of brokenness. So it's trying to recognize that in things that you may feel like you are not whole, you could still find completion in these things. So yeah, so I guess like my question while I'm just, you know, waiting for people to pile in and everything like that, and while they're listening to this, wherever they're listening this from, whether they're driving home, whether they're in the living room, you know what I'm saying? What do you think of when you hear the sentiment, okay in my brokenness?
Okay in my brokenness. I think what it is you trying to discover who you really are, or what it is that you stand for while you're in a state of brokenness, or when you're in a state of being like taken apart. So like during this whole pandemic thing, during this whole shutdown thing, that entire state is like a state of brokenness because you're used to doing something in a way that you used to do it, or you remember doing it, almost like a day-to-day sort of exercise or whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, it stops, and then you have to redo things, or you have to do things differently. It's trying to find a way to be okay during that state of brokenness. And what ends up happening, you end up recompiling yourself, and you end up going, you actually end up healing parts of yourself that you didn't know were actually chipped and fragmented.
Yeah, it's funny because like I've what the heck? I'm trying to get this thing. I'm trying to get over here. This is why I need an intern, because like I have to do all this like touch and go stuff by myself. Good Lord, I need like control buttons. That's what I need. I need like Dexter's Laboratory setup with like the keys and stuff. Maybe I don't know. I'm still getting used to like my desk and my new setup and everything like that. But yeah, man, it's and not even that. I feel like sometimes when we're talking about complacency, it's very easy for routine to become a religion in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's why, and when I say like routine, it could be like routine just because of how you grew up. It could be routine just because societal norms. It could be routine because it was a response that worked for that time period in that season, but you have yet to break the cycle to implement a new change, or better yet, for it to digest in your body in a different way. You needed to introduce a new palate. But I think that's a very scary place for a lot of people, is stepping into, trying a new food, trying a new season, trying a new venture, all these things, because it's so easy to stay complicit with a lot of these things that we've been accustomed to for the longest. So yeah, I can only imagine. But then again, bruh, you live in the A. Y'all never really was on lockdown. Y'all been bugging since like March of 2020. Like, my goodness.
To be fair, we were pretty much on lockdown until about mid to late May. That was when all that craziness with George Floyd, rest in peace, that entire thing happened. Then it kind of started to get a little haywire. But for the most part, it's been locked since like March 20th, I want to say, up until about when that happened. Then it started to open up a little bit. But yeah, I mean, we've been open. I mean, we're more open than a lot more of the states up north. Like, I'm kind of disappointed in the way how we handle it, but at the same time, it's the South, so I'm not surprised at all.
The South got something to say. Allah to Andre 3000. Shoot. But yeah, man. For me, when I think of, it's funny. I had to go through last year. In a lot of ways. Let me turn my brightness up. I can't. I'm like dipping away from the light a little bit. There we go. There you go. That's a little, makes it look a little better. I mean, it's kind of burning my corneas, but we'll get it. But it's funny that when we're talking about being okay in your brokenness, it's one acknowledging the broken part. You know what I'm saying? When we think of, in the scripture, we think of Paul when he had that thorn in his side. You know what I'm saying? We think of Jesus literally telling John, "I'm not bailing you out, bro. You're not getting out of jail. You're gonna have to like settle in this for a little bit." And there's a lot of things that, like, not to get too spiritual for a second, there's a lot of things that you have to not so much settle, I would say, but you have to be okay with, so you don't drive yourself mad. Like, accepting like what it is for right now, and finding a way to come back from these very, I would say, like turbulent adjustments, and recognizing that there can be a sense of wholeness in that brokenness. It's interesting. I'm not really sure how like God's gonna help me pontificate my point on this subject matter, especially when it applies to my own testimony. But I mean, like, we're just gonna let the Spirit move. Hopefully it is semi-liberating people, whether you believe in Jesus or not, whether you believe that Tinky Winky was the weirdest Teletubby or not. That's completely up to you. None of the names made sense, and then his name was Tinky Winky. Something about him is very subject. It's very suspect. I don't know what it was. I couldn't rock with it. Yeah, man. So yeah. So I guess like my next point when we're talking about broken in itself, and then the being okay in this brokenness. Brother Kyle, if I remember you saying this correctly, I think you said at one point in your life you had dealt with like a season of, I think you said you had cancer, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, that was a long time ago though.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, to see how like I said, I feel like this may be important and could apply to the conversation for the dialogue purposes. Talk to me a little bit about like, I would say like that season within like not only like what was happening with you physically, but like how did that impact you like mentally? If you had a spiritual connection by any means, how did that impact you spiritually? Just kind of like talk about that season in your life, I would say.
Yeah, well, first off, just to give some context, I was about 4 years old when I had cancer. So I was
Gotcha.
I was young then. I was young then, but it still did impact me because I learned a lot about that entire situation. I had a very rare form of cancer. It was highly that it was highly deadly. Like I was that, you know, that Make-A-Wish Foundation that you're a part of if the child themselves are not supposed to make it. I was a part of that program. So according to them, according to science, I'm not supposed to be here. So the fact that I'm still here, one, has impacted my faith. Two, I had learned that my grandmother, God rest her soul, she had fasted 7 days straight when she had found out. Fasted and prayed 7 days when she had found out. And my dad also, he's been very, my biological father, he's been very adamant about praying for the very things that you are seeking. Like he had comforted me because I was really scared when I knew that something was wrong with me, and he told me that everything was going to be all right and you're going to make it. And he apparently went into a bathroom himself and broke down and cried and asked the Lord. He said, "You heard what I said to my son. You know, you heard that I had told him that everything's going to be all right and that he's going to be okay. Do not make me out to be a liar." And I remember these things that they told me, and I remember the experiences of that entire hospital. It was a lot. Most people are not supposed to remember those experiences at that young of an age, but I do. And that impacts me now, where whenever I meet people, I show them compassion. I try to be the kind of person that if I was in your shoes, I would want somebody to say hello to me, or I want to be the kind of person that checks up on me on occasion. Even if I forget sometimes, I try to make a habit of, every couple of months, I didn't hear from this person. I haven't seen them texting at all, or I haven't seen them, they seem like they're not themselves. Like I try to pay attention to people. Like I'm a lot more deeper connected. I feel like I'm deeply connected to people based off of that experience, because when you're in a situation where life and death, or in this particular topic's case, brokenness happens, you have to find a way for everybody to be okay in that situation.
Yeah, it's the one thing that I've had to learn in a sense is allow people to see me broken. I don't like that I am not with that like at all. And I think in a lot of ways, it's a pride thing. It's a response to trauma. I think what it is in a lot of ways, it's because, and we talked about this earlier. It's so easy to shut up. People in the comments already talking smack. Don't make me put you in timeout. Good Lord. That's besides the point. But I think like when we're talking about this routine and everything like that, it's like this is what I've always done. And when I say like this is what I've always done, I've always had to patch myself up. I've always had to treat my own wounds. Sometimes sometimes the ways I used to treat these wounds weren't always positive. Obviously, my brother, you know my testimony and everything like that. But I've always had to be the one to patch it, regardless if it was a bottle, whether it was isolation, whether it was music, whether it was being my own soundboard, whether it was a song, you know what I'm saying? And then in a lot of ways it was Jesus, but I had to do it by myself. And when I say do it by myself, I had to nurture my spirit by myself, and I've had to I'm almost very fearful of the mindset of fellowship in a lot of ways, just from everything that's happened last year. So yeah, it's been a lot, but I think that this will be kind of good because I think like I said, somebody asked me a couple of weeks ago, am I writing a book with what I'm doing? Am I writing a book? Do I plan on writing a book with like my life story? I'm like, I think my podcast is kind of like my book. Each episode is a chapter in my life as I discuss it. And sometimes I pick different chapters to reflect on other chapters. I think that this is one of those. And so, yeah. So like I said, I usually freestyle. I don't really know how this is really going to go. But I guess like I'll have to, for me purposes, I think I'll just talk about like last year for me. Last year, as you know, brother, like I told you this, and I've even had you on the episode where I like essentially told my good, bad, and my ugly. I had to last year, you know, I got doxed. I got blasted. Like, you know, my rap sheet, my track. I tell people now, like my track record motivates me to smash records. And everything in which that I can't even say like, yeah, I'll just say that everything like I've worked for in a sense leading up to last year was pretty much put out on Front Street. This created a huge sense of not only paranoia for me, a real heavy burden of insecurities. It was kind of like a straitjacket in a sense, where it just felt like I couldn't breathe in a sense because it just wrapped its arms around me. I've lost a lot of weight, believe it or not. I don't know where people are like, where the hell could you lose weight in? I'm like, well, when you're skinny, you lose it in spots a lot of people don't think they lose weight in. It's like it was in my face. So like you gotta think like my skin's a little tighter in these areas. Not to say like I had like a chunky face or anything like that. There's certain like cavities in my shoulders that seem a little like tighter. I mean, a little like it grips a little deeper than it did before. I'm still, I mean, this was before my depressive episode. I'm still wearing clothes from the 7th grade. My legs grew, not really my arms too much. Definitely didn't grow horizontally, grew in a more longitude, not latitude sense. Not like my man Kyle over here, who's just built like a rock for like for no reason. The guy, he just like, I'm gonna buy all these weights off of Marketplace and I'm just gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it made me. It was funny, like it was like, and I don't really know, which is kind of funny. So one thing that I wanted to ask you while I have you on this, while I have you on here is because we didn't really talk about it on the podcast per se, that we did at the beginning of the year, but I remember I reached out to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I shut down my old Facebook and everything like that. I reached out to you when I had all this crazy happening. And I was in this really dark place. What were your thoughts? Like, if you remember, I can't even remember like what exactly you said to me when I like told you like my life story and everything like that. But what were your thoughts? Not only after hearing my life story, but then as people used it as like ammunition to like destroy me in a sense, and it put me in this deep dark place. What were your thoughts like when I brought this to you? I think it was like, yeah, it was right around this time. Matter of fact, it was like maybe a week or two after everything went down. But what were your thoughts when I like gave you the download essentially to everything?
I just thought that one, that's kind of brave that you're trusting me. Like you barely know me, you know, to give this information to me. And like the second was like, wow, this guy's really going through it. Because I remember the conversation that, or the podcast episode that we had on the 4 out of 5 with AJ, myself, and you. And I was just like, man, this dude is awesome. Like I'm here talking to you, I'm here listening to you, and I'm like, I'm a guy who senses like energy and spirits, or not spirit, but like Holy Spirit. Like it kind of guides me to different people. And when I'm talking to people, I'm kind of like gauging that person's like connectiveness to the Most High. And like certain people I mesh well with, and certain people I don't mesh well with. I really connected to you in that way, in a spiritual way. So when you told me everything that was happening, I was just like, man, you know, I'm sorry that you went through this. I'm sorry that this has happened. But also I felt this need to want to reach out to you because, you know, it seems like that was unnecessary. It was something that happened in your past. It wasn't something like you were trying to do. You weren't in your right state of mind at that time. And you even described it. You know, you talked about it in a way that was very humble. You didn't have to explain that to me. You didn't have to tell me anything. You could have just been, well, you know, things happened and that's it. And I could have been like, okay, I'm not going to push any further. But you trusted me with that information. So the fact that you were that, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent with me showed that you really were about the thing that you were talking about. You were the kind of person that really was seeking after God and his kingdom. And you were trying your best to navigate everything that was happening to you. I understand that level of commitment, and to have that happen to you is just it sucks. But at the same time, you going through that is probably a bigger testimony for you, because if you're able to get back from that low point, then God's going to build you back stronger. And if he builds you back stronger, there's who else can come up against you, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like and you've seen it just from like, and you've met a couple of them on the podcast, but like this, like the community I've established, this, like, I call it my black sheep family. Essentially, I'm like, look, I am just like what Paul said, I am the chief of the sinners. I am the king black sheep. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, other people will tell me, they're like, do you realize how much of a big deal you are? I'm like, I really don't think so that way. I think, like, I always tell people, like, I have the legs to stand because I've had to get through so much mud, in a sense. Whether it was mud that I put at my feet, whether it was mud that was put before me, whether it was a flagrant foul, I've had to deal with the implements of. But I do know that, and like goes with my moniker and everything like that, because I've been through so much as far as like been stewarded in a saturation of a season of hate for like predominantly most of my life. That's something that I'm like allergic to now, which is why I'm very intentional on letting people know I love them. I'm not the best communicator because I'm not really, this is why I had to, so I don't know if I told you. So I had to hire an old childhood friend to be my social media manager. I'm terrible at texting. I'm like awful. Like, I'm like really bad. I'm really, really bad. I think one time I apologized to you. Was like, hey, I meant to send this months ago. My bad. I ain't hit send. I pay somebody weekly now to do that. Because it's, I'm like, gosh, like she'll text me or call me. Hey, so-and-so texted you. What do I say to them? I'm like, make it sound like me. So if you ever get a weird text message, because they have my iMessage and everything like that, and it sounds pretty close to me, it might be me. That's besides the point.
Okay.
I'm just saying it may be me, it may not be me, but that's completely besides the point.
Well,
But
to your social media person, thank you for helping Jordan get back on his texting schedule. Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm like, did I do something wrong? Did
no,
I
I'm
mess?
bad. I'm bad, dude. I'm bad. Ask anybody that has affiliation with me to the slightest. I am awful at this texting game. I'm just, yeah, it's bad. She said it isn't
Well,
me. No, we know it isn't you, but yeah. So yeah,
I
I
mean,
think for me, oh, go ahead.
no, I said, I mean, hey, like the fact that you're able to admit it, that's the first step. So
What is this recovery again? My gosh. Like but
this is the recovery for texting is anonymous. We help people out here who they have trouble texting other people on the road. So or not on the road, just in life in general. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna set you up in AA and make sure that you're okay. This is Coach Kyle with the message. No one stop.
I don't appreciate the shade. I don't appreciate the shade. Somebody needs to pick up that palm tree from the middle of the road. I don't really like it. But yeah, man, it's kind of the thing that I really wanted to talk about is I guess like the mental anguish I was going through at this time. Trigger warning to anybody that's dealt with any of these thoughts. I'm just gonna leave with that now. But there was many nights where I was just like, I don't think I want to be here anymore. I just don't. There were many nights because there were so many things that came with what happened last year. Like people, I mean, like it was bad enough that I'm a black man in a world that people hate Christians, and in my opinion, they have a good reason to, especially in America. I'm a black man that's trying to dismantle white supremacy in an anti-black society that does not want the real, when I say the real Christ, when I say the right Christ, not the white Christ, in the society. And then on top of the fact that's like, they also have ammunition to turn people that aren't really, in my opinion, they lost their sight about what this fight's about, and it's about liberation. It's about fighting for the least of these. And it took, getting close with people like you. And what's up, Ty? I see Ty just showed up. Ty, this will be a good conversation for you to come into as well, dog. If you wanted to chime in on it, let me know. I could send you the link. That won't be an issue. But yeah, man, this was like probably the hardest season of my life because not only did I not know who to trust, I didn't know if I wanted to trust people anymore. But then it was a season where my life was being broadcasted in the darkest season in my life, I would say, growing up in my childhood and everything like that. And it was picking at some old scabs, meaning like it felt like for me, I was being like re-traumatized all over again. I was being triggered all over again. There was nights where I was literally like, and when I say like all over again, I'm talking like I'm getting those sweats. I'm getting those urges to drink again to cope with these feelings. I'm getting these very super nervous feelings that's like, hey, you know what can take the edge off of this? You can take a nice cold drink of this, a nice hot cup of hot. When I say hot, meaning no ice or anything like that, or you could just revert back to your old ways. And I think like it was a season in my life where I had to just acknowledge the suck. You know what I mean? Like it was like you gotta acknowledge the suck. You gotta acknowledge that it reminds me of this Lecrae lyric. I said it the other night to one of my elders in my community group. Shout out to Queen Maya out in North Kakalaka. But this lyric that Lecrae has on one of his albums, it's the All Things Work Together album. It's the master artist makes a mess a masterpiece regardless. I think of people like Moses, who literally killed a man before he got promoted and used by God with a stuttering problem, all these things, and God still used him. But God doesn't call. He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. There was a season in my life where it was just like, I have to, not so much like in a way to like stay there in a sense where I start beating myself up, but I have to acknowledge the suck and be like, none of that matters to God. When I see like the suck part, none of that, the things that other people may use to turn against you, all these things that people may use to disparage your name, detriment your name, defecate on your name, all these things. I said, I've had to establish a new tribe to sow seeds in the dirt that other people threw on my name. All these things that I've had to just say, you know what, this sucks. I have to be okay with it. And I need to learn how to be okay in it. But yeah. Your thoughts on like, I guess like just that reflection piece.
Yeah, that, like, the fact that you had that moment, that's the beautiful moment that we all kind of have to face, so to speak. Like, everybody's gonna have a that sucks moment, but to what extent, I don't know. That this last year has been tough. Like, during that entire thing with George Floyd, I think that weekend I was supposed to pick somebody up, and their mom picked up the phone because he takes care of his mom, and I was late to pick him up, and normally I'm very on time, I'm very on point when it comes to driving with Uber, and when I have my own business, my own part-time business where I drive other people, I'm normally on time. I'm very to the point. I'm very on point. And I started to see myself slip. And she had called me and she told me that she was disappointed in me and that she was upset that I wasn't there at the time that I had appointed. And I think this was right after I had saw George Floyd, die on camera. And I broke down on the phone with her, and I was embarrassed that I did. But it was a moment where I wasn't okay. I was not okay with where I was. I wasn't okay with the situation. I was scared because this entire thing was just, I don't know how to describe it, but it was like it felt like a dream, or no, it felt like a nightmare that wouldn't end. And at some point, like I said, I had to find something to focus on because I couldn't focus on living for myself anymore. It just didn't become, it didn't make sense. I wasn't going to church, so I didn't have that to rely back on. I didn't want to go to church even when they allowed people to go back because I was scared of what was potentially out there. And eventually I found something, I found something for myself. And that was Christ, pretty much. Like I found some people, much like yourself, like sowed some seeds and just kind of planted myself and started growing. I started reading the word. I started to pray a lot more. I started to build a foundation in Christ. And eventually I started to see things grow. It took a long time. It took up until, I want to say, maybe about February of this year for it to start growing. But when it did, I don't even think that your typical person, like your random person, can uproot it now.
Yeah, it's what it is what I've noticed. It's I feel like a lot of people, especially when we're talking about like your whole world getting rocked, it's having to it's changing how we plant certain things in our lives. I did a podcast a few months back. It was fresh after, I don't know if I told you, well actually I think I texted you. I hit like a milestone in my sobriety. It was 3,400 days at that time. And on the subject matter I was talking on the subject matter I was talking about how I've had to change how I plant certain things in my life, how I grow as a person, how I allow things to develop around me, in me, things I feed myself, the different type of people that I allow in my circle and everything. My dog's going.
I hear him.
Yeah. My old man just got in the house. He got all excited. But yeah, man, it's funny that like I've had to be more conscious, be more intentionally conscious about like how I feed myself, whether it's emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically too, because I during that season, I think I was when I got like really, really depressed, I was like, I think nachos from 7-Eleven will get the job done. You know what I'm saying? I didn't eat the gas station sushi though. Anybody that does that, anybody that
don't do it.
Nah, don't do it. If you love yourself, the tiniest bit. I mean, if it's like 1% or 2%, like don't do it. I've heard horror stories. Get you some cheese curds from Sheets or something like that. Don't eat the sushi, dog. That's not a good move. Go to Wegmans.
Please don't.
But don't go to like the $10 buffet or something. Don't get the the gas station sushi.
Nah, man.
Which,
I mean that sushi at Publix though, it be hitting. I'm not even a big Publix guy. I mean,
I don't think I've ever even had Publix. I don't even know where Publix is. I don't think Publix is in Maryland now that I think about it.
I don't think it is. I think once you go past Maryland, either Maryland, Virginia area, you start to see it open up. Like there's this place called QT. It's a gas station. I think was done in the Midwest, I want to say. And
you talking about Quick Trip?
Yeah.
I remember Quick Trip. When I used to live in Kansas, we have a couple of cups by Quick Trip, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So that's where we have a ton of those down here. And yeah, like I don't know where I was going with it because now I'm hungry. But yeah, with certain areas they just have it. And yeah, it's in the South. As thank you, Meg. Yeah, they have a bunch of places like that in the South, and I don't know of anywhere that has a Sheets. Honestly, I don't know anywhere that has a Sheets.
Sheets got these cheese curds. They all right. They fire. They perfect. Where I lived at. I would drive down, go down 40, go like 20 to 25 minutes just to give me some cheese curds. I was that
good.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Not good for me, but that good. But yeah. So yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about when we're discussing brokenness. I wanted to I'm gonna bring the notes up on screen. Let's see if I know the tech savviness, as if I haven't done this before. I don't know why I act like I haven't done this before. Let me zoom in. How does one zoom in on this? No, is that it? This is why I need an intern. If anybody wants to not get paid at all and be completely used because I feel lazy, I said it just like that. That's fine. I said it just like that. I'm not paying you. But in fact, I'll just read this off. So one of the notes I have when we're discussing this subject of being okay in your brokenness, I have three points I want to hit. Apply to scripture and everything like that. Don't get too weirded out. We're not about to have church in here. You know what I'm saying? I feel like this can apply. And Kyle knows what I'm talking about. Sometimes you could just be reading the scripture and you don't even got to necessarily subscribe to the God that it's trying to apply the exegete to. But if you seek the nuance in the scripture and apply it to certain circumstances in your life, whether it was before or afterwards, hopefully it hits. If not, maybe I'm not talking to you in this season. Maybe I'm not talking to you right now. Maybe I'm not talking to you in the future, but this is more so for me to kind of get this out. But yeah, this would be good. So one of the things I have as far as the notes go, and I gave you the notes too. I texted them to you. Is
Yeah, I got him.
Yep. So childhood is one of the things I talked about. Childhood. This may seem cliche, but it's a smart place to start considering our parent-child paradigms carry into our parent-child paradigms. So basically, you know, when we're talking about, especially just for me, when I'm talking about mentors, when I'm talking about people that play either father figures, mother figures, and depending on, and I don't want to keep score with this because it's not really the necessary point when I'm trying to drive this home, but depending on if there was some sense of a distrust broken, whether it's in a parent child relationship, teacher parent relationship, teacher parent teacher student relationship, friend to friend relationship, all these things that happen very early in your childhood could very well dictate a lot of the things that you may have to deal with in your life going forward. We learn who we are and what we can expect from others in the context of relationships. Some of what we learn from our mortal relationships encourage us to trust our Father in heaven. For those that identify as a disciple of Christ. For my kings, queens, and monarchs out there. We learn from our mortal relationships encourage us to trust our Father in heaven and his Son, Jesus Christ, and to reach optimistically toward them. Some of what we learn can interfere with that trust, making it hard to comprehend their love, let alone be filled with it. So basically what I'm saying is, and I'll break it down outside of theological terms, is like, if you've experienced some sense of brokenness, trauma, distrust, or had your heart broken very early as a childhood, and I want to be clear, it's not cliche because this is just a fact of what we've seen. Cruelty like charity begins at home. So if you experience charity very early at home, then you're gonna know charity outside of the home. But if you experience cruelty inside of the home, if you experience bitterness inside of the home, if you experience anger issues inside of the home, then you're going to take that outside the home. Coach Kyle, is this hitting for you? You got any thoughts on this so far as notes goes?
I'm trying to think. I mean, give me like another second, because I'm trying to make sure I got the bulk of what's
Context.
been the context of what's been saying.
I got you. Don't worry. Nuance is my favorite niche, and context is my favorite color. So I'm gonna go a little further down. I found this poem by an Edwina Gately. Hopefully, I'm finding their
Edwina
I'm
Gately?
enunciating their name right. Gately. I don't know. English is not my first language. But the poem, this like sentiment I wanted to apply here when I'm talking about this point is, let your God love you. You know what I'm saying? Be silent, be still, alone, empty before your God. Say nothing, ask nothing, be silent, be still. Let your God look upon you. That is all. God knows, God understands, God loves you with an enormous love and only wants to look upon you with that love. Quiet, still, be, let your God love you. The notes I drove from that afterwards is, it is difficult to grow a satisfying, trusting relationship with divinity when prior relationship losses, disappointments, fears entangles us in a false hopes and impossible expectations. What you got for me, Coach?
Sorry. This poem, "Let Your God Love You," that to me sounds like something that I've been studying with my cousin Nigel, and I believe you actually you had a chance to kind of talk with Nigel when we
very briefly before I had to get off the internet again because
yeah,
too many wild people after the insurrection. But yes,
yeah. So pretty much what that sounds to me is like something that we've been touching on. We've been trying to understand his word, for example, because we understand that God loves us enough to want to help us to meet him someday. He didn't have to do anything. He could have just been like, the heck with these people, they want to separate from me, so be it. He could have been that. He could have been that for a large portion of us, and just said, I'm only going to choose a couple of you. But no, he gave us his word. And what I'm learning now is that I think in order to really experience the love of the Lord, you have to understand what his word means. And I'm not sure if this is relevant to the context of feeling this like relationship issue, so to speak, with your mortal friends or whatever. But I've noticed that when I understood his word, it's almost as if like I understood the loving and caringness of the Heavenly Father. It's hard to explain on my part. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but
I think for me, it's like when I think about this, because I always try to seek like I said, nuance is my favorite niche when I'm talking about, like, when I'm trying to take like the exegy and then like apply it to even to like my friends who are, I call them my saints and ain'ts, my arrows and weirdos. You know what I'm saying? But when we're talking about like one of these things I had as far as notes goes, it is difficult to grow a satisfying, trusting relationship. And we'll just take out a couple of words, but and apply different words and see if this makes sense. But it is difficult to grow a satisfying, trusting relationship with divinity, meaning like some type of divine. It could be divinity, intimacy. You can apply it in different ways. When prior relationship losses, disappointments, and fears entangle us into false hopes and impossible expectations. How can we learn to approach these, our most important relationships, with less worry and shame, more trust and hope? How can we fully receive the love we've been told they offer, but they don't always feel? Talk about, for me, like with what I went through last year, I was valued until deemed unvaluable. You know what I'm saying? I was valuable and an asset till I was not. There was things that came with me. When I say that came with me, there was things that came with me as far as like my past goes that did not make me seem applicable to their life anymore. And they made that very, very clear. Other things I have as notes goes is a life refreshed. And we can take this word out and add it back, and that's fine. A life refreshed with God's peace and joy is possible, even if we feel overwhelmed with everyday stress. God understands, doesn't want you to do more for him. God loves to love you deeper. And we can take God out for a second. If we talk about people that are not saved, there are people that are just in our lives that are like, hey, I just want to see your dirty drawers. Like, I say that like just not trying to be funny. Hear me out. Like, there's just some people. Hear me out. Like, hear me out.
I'm hearing you out. I'm hearing you out.
For those that got kids at home, you know what I'm saying? You got a relationship with your kids. It's like, yo, let me see your like, let me see it. Something like, I want to get you better, baby. I just like, there's some in your drawers. You know what I'm saying? Let me see them skid marks. There's some people in your life. Now, hear me out. There's some people in your life. It's like, I want to understand why you are uncomfortable, why you are in a place of discomfort. Why I want to understand why you are feeling uneasy. Let me see what this problem comes from. You know what I'm saying? There are some people that just want to, like, they don't want to know to mock you. They don't want to know to throw stones at you. They don't want to know to disparage you and throw dirt on your name. It's because they like, now I understand. Now I know where I can apply something that will make you comfortable. Now I know where I can apply love, so you could feel love in this place that you felt these cracks of hate that I could fill in these spots in. But it takes with certain people, and for those that are disciples of Christ, it takes a sense of nakedness, I would say. It takes a sense of being seen in ways that other people won't see you. That way you can be understood in ways that other people choose not to understand you. You know what I'm saying? For me last year, not a lot of people were willing to listen. They didn't want to hear my side. And I, you know, for me, I was like, do I even feel like they deserve it? I was like, no, but this is my story at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? This is I keep calling it my good, bad, ugly, and indifferent. This is my story. At the same time, I wanted to be very clear. I'm like, be very happy. And I heard I'll have to send you a clip of this sermon, brother Kyle. Pastor said, man, ain't you happy your life story ain't written in the Bible? You know what I'm saying? Like, really think about that. Like, ain't you happy yo ratchetness in all ways? I'm not trying to compare anybody, but ain't you happy that your story ain't on the news? Ain't you happy that your filth, your skid marks, you know what I'm saying, is not out on Front Street for everybody else to have an opinion about? That did two things for me. One, because I tell people the Bible is the most ghetto book ever written. I mean, it just is.
Hold on.
Baby mama drama. There's people killing their brothers. There's people I'm just saying. There's people selling Jesus for. There's people selling people out for nickels. You know what I'm saying? Like the silver that Judas sold Jesus for can't even buy you a used PS4 today. That's what it's worth. That is, the Bible is the most ghetto book ever written. It just is. But yeah. So what I have as far as like this, it's the truth. It's the truth. It's the most it is. You can find anything in there. It is so ghetto. But that's why it's so real to me, because it's realistic. You know what I'm saying? Baby mama drama. You got baby mama drama. You got people like David sending people's husbands to war to sleep with somebody else's wife. You got it's ratchet. It's ratchet. It just is. But guess what? So am I. I'm ratchet and I'm righteous. You know what I'm saying? Hear me. But one of the scriptures that I use is come to me who are all weary and heavy laden, I will give you rest. There are people in our lives that God will send to you that maybe you don't recognize them as God, and that's fine. But there are people that they don't want you to work. They don't want you to perform. They don't want you to be perfect. They just want you. They want to rest, and they want to provide that space where you can just
be you.
Unshrug your shoulders, dog. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to be on guard with. There are people that are like, I don't need you to perform. I don't need you to be strong. I need you to just
be.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? What you got for me, Coach Kyle? I know this is hitting you now. What you got for me, dog?
I mean, that, like I said, it's just being, like, that aspect of trying to be, you know, like the what comes to mind is like Bruce Lee, for example. The idea of just being, who you are and being as true to yourself as you're supposed to be. Not as how you think you're supposed to be, but as you're supposed to be, as in how God has designed you to be, or wants you to be. And so in order to be that, you have to let go of all of this stuff. And as you said, you know, sometimes he sends you someone that allows you to be that, and to be that in the best way, shape, or form possible. And so I look up and I see Bruce Lee, where all he's trying to do is just successfully express himself. You know, he's trying to throw a punch in a way that is the way that he wants to do it. He's trying to throw a kick the way that, you know, he wants to do it, or that is true to him. When you go into this whole thing with ministry, or when you go into this whole thing with these expectations with people and all these little nuances, the best thing to do is to find the best way to do it in the way that God wants you to do it. And it's hard to understand that, but sometimes it's the best thing to do. It's the best thing to learn how to be
water.
You. Not just water, but be you in the best way possible. Being formless and shapeless like water is essentially being yourself, but to the truest extent. Like if you don't know how to dance, people say they don't know how to dance, or people don't say they don't know how to do certain things. It's because they haven't taken the time out to understand who they are. Everybody has the ability to do these things, but they haven't found out the way that they do it themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's a trueness in following God. There's a certain trueness in being who you are in the face of every sort of difficulty, every sort of iniquity, every sort of situation that's supposed to like bring you down, or that's
And you
supposed
know
to
what it
make you
also
challenge
is
yourself.
though, that you were about to say? There's a certain sense of freedom of just not like being in the dumps. I mean, like organically, like, hey, like, cause there's some times that I've hit the streets. There's been times I come up on here and I'm just like, oh man, I can't get in my bag right now. I got people. I'm Mr. Lee with love. I'm Kid Casper. I gotta smile for these folk and pontificate my point and preach to the masses. There's times I'm in the streets. I am being destroyed in my head mentally by my mental health, but I put on a smile. But once again, there are people and there's a God. There are people, there's opportunities where you could just, if you feel weary, it's okay. God loves you. We'll take God out for a second because I believe every person that is added into your life, God sent them, but they had their own mind. But there are people that love you, rest in their arms or rest in their care, rest in their space, and hear him whisper or hear them whisper to you. Hear them just love on you and saying, I am making a way for you. See, I am doing something new. I will make a way in the wilderness and the rivers and in the desert. You know what I'm saying? And none of those things does it say you have to be great all the time. It just says be.
Yeah.
That's it.
And there you go. And there you go. Like that's what I mean. Being is the hardest thing to do because it emphasizes what it is that you really like, or what it is that you really are, what's really on your mind. What, like, even something as simple as communicating with the Heavenly Father, talking to him, right, is difficult because what we've established is, just, we don't establish the idea of being. We establish the idea of we have to do. So the idea of being when it comes to the Heavenly Father, for example, is just like how you and I are having a natural conversation right now. That's really how the Holy Spirit talks, just like this. But we have it in our mind of doing, which is like, oh, Father God, we need you to do this for us. And we get really into the motions of it. You get really technical with it, like when you notice how Bruce Lee fights and you notice how other martial artists fight. Other martial artists, they kind of follow a system, and it's not saying that the system isn't necessary. It's necessary for the foundation of what it is that you need in order to move forward. But something about being able to flow and being able to do things in a natural way that is true to you ends up helping you in the long run. When you are communicating with the Lord in that way, in a way that's very true to you, that's very natural, that's just like a regular conversation, like throwing a punch, like just driving a car, any single thing like that, when it's done in that way that's very natural, you reap the benefits of it a lot better. And in situations like this where you and I are struggling, that's what you end up needing. You end up needing the ability to be, instead of trying to be something that you're not, to benefit from it.
You know, another thing I've noticed though is like I always tell people, anybody that has ever engaged me, and like I always open up with, especially when I have like interviews and when I have conversations with people, I tell them up front, I'm like, hey yo, my name is Kid Casper. I'm a Christian raptivist. I make sure they know I'm a Christian. And because I know that what the world's expectations of us are, I know that I may know like some of their experiences with some of us that stormed the Capitol. I said what I said. Because the church stormed the Capitol, and we're not going to deviate from that. We're not going to litigate about that. That's the truth. But I tell people, they're like, oh man, are you sure you want to talk to me? I'm not a Christian. I'm like, I don't care. Like I'm sitting here to love you for who you are, not who you pretend to be, because God loves me for who I really am, not for what I present to other people. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of the attitude I've had to adopt. And I say had to adopt because if I love people how people love people, I'm never going to love people correctly.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? If I love people how people love people, I am going to let people down, period. Because I'm using a very horizontal mindset to deal with people, give people vertical guidance.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, I always tell people, like, don't get it twisted, dog. This is not normal for a reason, and that's a good thing. But when I say like in this sense of brokenness, it's having to, like, for you to combat, or better yet, to accept the love that you, I guess, like, that somebody is giving you, whether it's in a on a spiritual sense, a fellowship sense, platonic sense, a relationship, a romantic relationship sense, teacher to student, mentor to mentee, father to son, mother to daughter, monarch to monarch for our non-binary folk. You gotta almost acknowledge the suck. You gotta acknowledge the hate too that you may be dealing with. You need to acknowledge the anguish, because you're never going to be okay in it until you address what you're in. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's this another thing from my notes on point 2 on being okay in your brokenness is this poem I got from this somebody named Jennifer Culp. The poem goes, "The words to say I love you. I was there, yet you did not see me. The times you did cry, I wrapped you in my loving arms and wiped the tears from your eyes. Every prayer I heard and answered, every cry for help I came. I cast down all your enemies and brought them all to shame. You are my beloved son." You can substitute that beloved daughter. You can, my beloved
whatever.
Prince. Yeah, whatever. Prince, princess, monarchy. I'm saying you royalty at the end of the day. Whom I have set free. I've removed your chains of darkness because you have believed in me, and I am in you, and you in me. None can take us apart. Where are the words to express my love? They are written on your heart. One of the things I have as far as notes goes is begin the process of healing now by taking this idea deep in your heart. I am willing to let go and let God handle it all. Relax going back to the unshrug your shoulders. Some of us, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get it. I'm not trying to indoctrinate people. I'm just saying it's kind of hard to get medicine when you tense. It's kind of hard to get a vaccine, a syringe, or whatever when your muscles is tensed up. Look at Coach Kyle. Do you think a muscle gonna get through his doggone arms? Be over here flexing? My God, I can't stand this man.
I'm not even flexing.
I know you're not, but you're too big to be on screen now. You need a better camera. I can't see all of you just properly.
Yo.
But
to be fair though. To be fair, every time we've done this podcast, I think you've only seen me from the head up.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen the arms because you're driving in the wintertime, giving people food for Uber, but I don't know. That's a possibility. But yeah. To begin the process of healing, take this idea deep in your heart. I'm willing to let go. And let God handle it all. Relax your entire being. Relax. Once again, just be, as you said earlier, as much as you are able to affirm quietly. One of the things I wrote down as far as notes go, when I'm talking about like everything I went through last year, it's it's going back to just recognizing the suck to be the suck and just acknowledging what sucks about it. You know what I'm saying? Like identifying what came with it and everything like that. For me, it was the way that like people were like bashing me, trashing me, throwing dirt on my name was, people were out to kill me. I mean, people still are. I mean, like, it's okay. I mean, I grew up black in this country. I understand. Sorry, way to drop that in there real quick. But yeah, but it's a reality. But for me, it's just keeping it real. Like, what things are impacting me? Am I feeling insecure? Yeah, I'm saying, am I feeling inadequate? Am I feeling unfulfilled? Am I feeling am I just feeling miserable? Am I not feeling happy? Acknowledging, like, for me, it took a lot of just, I'll say like this, being honest with myself. Fuck everybody else for a second, but like, be honest with myself. Bump and F everybody else. Just be honest with me. This hurts for me at the end of the day, nobody else. And one of the things I put down was one of the things I wrote down as far as notes goes is I acknowledge that there is a presence and a power beyond my understandings, ready to work through me as I let go. It's kind of hard to be valiant and be a warrior for God or anybody, or better yet, it's kind of hard to be on offense if you're always on defense. You know what I'm saying? You're putting the shield up when you should have been using the sword. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And in this, I put where'd it go? Ready to work through me as I let go. I know that myself, I can do nothing. Just for me as a disciple of Christ, I know as myself, I can do nothing. But with God, all things are possible. I'm 34. I don't even know what marker I am. I'll have to check my sober app. But next year, I'm going to be 10 years sober, bro. Doesn't make sense. I shouldn't even be alive right now. Like, I'm just saying, I just shouldn't even be alive right now. Like, I should literally be, now I'm drinking, this isn't the endorsement plug, but you ever had a bold ginger, the bold Canada Dry ginger ale? Have you ever had this?
I don't think I've ever had that. I've been
bro, this one hit this hard like Hennessy. For some odd reason, it tickles my nose when I drink it. I'm like, good God.
I mean,
I was drinking it. I got some in my cup. You know what I'm saying? And it be tickling my nose.
Wait, are you drinking?
I'll be ready to. Yeah,
are you drinking it in a coffee mug?
Yeah, this is my cup. I just got this from my new church. You can do whatever you want. When you get your podcast and you put your cups, whatever you want to put in your cup, and how you deal with your cup, you deal with that and how you want to deal with your cup. But for me, I'm gonna drink my bold ginger ale out of my coffee cup. Is that okay, sir? Is that okay, black man?
No, I'm okay with it. I'm just asking if it hits different.
I mean, not really. It definitely does make me feel more sophisticated. Like, we sponsored out here, but not really. It's just, oh no. I'm also in the process of moving, so some of my cups are in other places, but that's besides the point.
All right.
Yeah. As you begin to let go of trying to control challenges, remember that this does not mean that you are shirking your part in the process. Rather, it means that you are courageously facing challenges with a new awareness of your partnership with God. And for those that aren't saved, your new partnership with these new people in your life, your new support group, your new circle, your new church, your new boss, your new boo thing, your new husband, your new wife, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever.
You know, friends.
Your person, your partner, your dog, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Their presence and power is not only beside you, but within you. It means that you are beginning to accept that you can handle whatever confronts you because of the solid foundation of God's spirit in you. That's what I put down. Remind yourself quietly again and again and again, I'm willing to let go and let God handle it all. For me, I got to a place now. How do I describe this? How do I say this delicately? Whoever I was before I met you ain't got nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? Whoever I was before I met you ain't got nothing to do with you. You might feel some type of way about it. Yes, absolutely. I feel some type of way about it, believe it or not. But I'm not gonna. I've already been a slave to alcohol and my trauma. I'm not gonna be a slave to pleasing people that I will never please.
Yeah.
I'm just not. That's a especially as a black man. No, you got me chopped. I'm not doing that. But yeah, it got to a point where I was just like, that's not my ministry. I don't think God sent me here to be liked by everybody. I don't think God sent me here to be understood by everybody, you know? God didn't send me here to be accepted by everybody. And guess what? I have to be okay in that. I have to be okay with the people that broke my heart. I had to be okay with the people that broke my trust. I had to, in a lot of ways, I had to be okay with the people that broke my safety. Over just the last year, in a lot of different ways. Because they indicated before God indicated that's not their problem anymore. You know, it was Black Lives Matter asterisk minus this one. You know what I'm saying? It was, we accept and love everybody. We're tolerable of everybody except somebody that came from this, you know? And we do that as people all the time. We're so quick to say we're here for everybody, but we cancel our own all the time. It's mad toxic. Especially when I always tell people, I'll have to send you the link to this one, Kai. I said, you know, don't talk about the creases in my shoes if you ain't walk I said if you ain't walked a mile in my shoes, don't talk about the creases in them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's real, because like for me, I'm like, you don't know what scuffed my sneaks. You know, what would have scuffed my sneaks probably would have tore your Achilles. You know what I'm saying? What would have cut me probably would have killed you. And I've kind of just gotten to this point where it's just like, I'm not saying, I'll say like this. The circumstances in which I went through, the weapons were manufactured to cut me but not kill me. Meaning like these weapons were manufactured, but they weren't meant to prosper. But that doesn't mean that somebody on the outside looking in that sees my scars has any damn right to tell me how I should have coped with that. Yesterday in church, we were talking about, I think it was we talked about Noah. Like, you know, one of the things that Noah had to go through is like, you know, Noah had to build the ark. Noah had to deal with people ridiculing him for years building this ark. It never rained on the earth yet before. So he had to build a boat. They were like,
what the heck are you doing?
It's a boat. You're like, what the f is a boat? What are you talking about? Oh, it's for the water. What? We got water in the, you know what I'm saying? We got water over here, but from the sky, what the is that? You know, precipitation. What's that weird? Like, but one of the things that pastors, hey, hear me out, but I'll drive this home though. One of the things that Pastor Stephen said was, you know, so he had to deal with people ridiculing him, calling him, I don't really like the word, but they, you know, calling him crazy, calling him unhinged, calling him out of his mind. He had to build the ark, and he had to watch people die.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Noah had to watch people die right in front of him. The people that he grew up with, you know what I'm saying? People that mocked him. One of the things that, and this is put chill to my bones, but he was saying, like, so Noah not only they had to watch people try to, after they were mocking him, it started raining, and then they were like, let us on this ark. Why'd you close? He's like, open it up. And then his response was like, I can't open it because I didn't close it. You know what I'm saying? Pastor Stephen said, like, you know, it was bad enough that he had to hear the screams of terror, but then the worst part was probably he had to hear nothing. He had to hear the silence. He had to know everybody was gone.
Oh God.
You know that's traumatizing, bro. That's mad traumatizing. Then you got two of every freaking animal, like Perry the platypus is beefing with the tiger on the doggone ark. Like, there's no order on this doggone ark. There's 3 windows. They're all above you, which means that heat rises, but it takes a while to get a rhinoceros fart to go through the window. It was just bad all around. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no.
But hear me
Lord.
out though. One of the first things I'm trying to. It got a little hot and heavy. I need to break it with a little bit comic relief. You know
Well, it worked,
but a little bit. but one of the first things Noah did is when he got off of the ark is he got drunk.
Oh dang.
He got drunk. He got drunk and he got sloppy drunk. Like, he got lit. He got lit. You know what I'm saying? His beak was wet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And when I say people like his own son. There was at one point in the Bible, his son was mocking him. He was like, "Oh, look at dad. Look, he's a hot damn mess. Look at him over here." And it's like, how is it that you went through this with me? The flood, the everything, the watching all these people drown from, and you don't even understand why I'm drinking right now. You know what I'm saying? You don't even know how I'm trying to cope with these things right now. And I feel like sometimes we do that to each other all the time. We look now, and whether we know them or not, we look at the end result, or we look at the worst moment for instance, in Noah's existence. And we're like, bro, you got plastered drunk in front of your kids, and you were like butterball naked. He was butterball naked. He just was. You got butterball naked. You were plastered drunk. And you're sitting there like, bro, you had to watch humanity drown before your eyes. Yeah. How do we forget that? How do we gloss over some, or better yet, how do we not seek to try to understand why somebody is the way that they are in their season in this life? So I think like the reason I brought that up, and it was funny that this part like hit me yesterday in service, is not only do I think that we need to do better at being okay in brokenness, we need to start learning how to seeking the okay in other people's brokenness, and not just looking them at as broken either. They're just like that's the season that they're in their life. You know what I'm saying? I always say, you know, failure is not a man, it's a moment. And I think of like in this case, like when I'm like applying the exegy here, is it's so easy to damn somebody for for something that's a low light, but then completely dehumanize them and otherize them and stigmatize them because of that one moment, without even considering the moments that led up to that moment. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, what you got for me, dog? What you got for me on this?
I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard for me to actually comment, because I think you made you drove the point home pretty clearly. You know, like sometimes we don't understand what that person's going through, but we're so quick to assume, and we're so quick to, you know, judge based off of the little information that we do know. This person, like as I said, for me, I was going through a breakdown at that time. You know, I was trying to hold everything together, and I was watching everything fall apart, and I didn't know how to handle that. Fortunately for me, that person recognized what I was going through, and she called me. She told me to come over to her house, and she prayed for me. So I was fortunate to have something to understand that level of brokenness that I had to be okay with. As far as what Moses was going through,
Noah.
Sorry, not Moses. Sorry, Noah.
All good. All good.
I messed that up. But what Noah was going through is an example of being on your purpose and following the instructions that you're supposed to. I don't want to get into that too far, because it's not dealing with this particular topic. But the end result, as you were talking about, people like for me, for a while, it was eating food. It was just eating various different types of foods. Like I had bought, like my favorite thing outside of gummy bears, and everybody knows I love gummy bears. Haribo for
Yo, I'm
Christmas.
telling you, bro, I could literally do a whole. I look bad. I'll be keeping the beanie with you. I could do a whole Bible study on just snacks. I'm not even kidding. But that's
Yeah.
another. Sign up for the Patreon. We'll break that down. If you break off
Mhm.
$2 and join the Patreon, I got you. But continue your point, my brother.
But I bought something they're called Sour Powers. I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of them. I bought a whole tub of them, and like 200 pieces come in the pack, and I would eat like 20 of them a day, 30 of them a day. I would buy like 2 packs off of Amazon for like the entire thing was like $40. I would just keep eating them because it was the best thing. It was the closest thing I could find to comfort, and that was how I dealt with it. That's how I dealt with brokenness at the time. I would just buy something that I liked, and I ate it. I ate pizza, I ate burgers, I ate everything that was probably not the healthiest to eat. I ate it as a comfort because it was either that, drinking beer, or doing something that I wasn't supposed to, in order to like find like levels of comfort during that time of brokenness. Um, but what ends up happening is that even though Noah had to do what he did, eventually he felt. I'm honestly he felt better, but I guess he was able to cope with it because that was an instruction. That was a direct instruction that was given to him by the Most High. That was given to him. He's like, "I'm going to flood the earth. I need you to prepare. You have such and such time to prepare. Do what you need to like. Do exactly what I'm instructing you to do in order to deal with it." And look what he ended up doing. That was the hardest thing for him to do, but when you're given an instruction to do, it's probably wisest to do so. My instruction was to sorry, just last point. My instruction was just simply to pray, build up a small group of people, pray about the things that need to get prayed about. That's it. And when you do that, I'll show you what next to do. That's all you gotta do, man.
I think the thing that what's kind of wild about this, and it's like the point that like Pastor Steven said was like he said we can and like I can equate this to like because this is what ended up happening to me too. He was saying like Noah got through the storm, but he wasn't supposed to. Hear me out. Noah got through the storm, but he wasn't supposed to. Sometimes the storm isn't really the storm because sometimes the storm is after the storm. Yeah, he made it through the storm, but the storm made its way through Noah too. You know what I'm saying? He was still the storm had gotten in him. You know what I'm saying? Like it for me, I think of like what I went through last year and everything like that. I recognize that a lot of like it's funny. I'll have to send you. There's a couple of interviews you gotta catch up on. There's this one interview I did last Thursday with this decolonizing, deconstructing theologian. Her name is Joe Lumen. And she said some of the ways that we respond to things are societal norms, culture that we grew up in, or trauma responses. And when you think of like, when I think about like for me, a lot of like my like responses to a lot of things I was dealing with was trauma responses. And then like what happened last year, it was really, really hard to engage people in so many facets. I was so scared to make any new relationship in my life because I'm just sitting there like, you love me now. You saying all these great things about me now, but wait till you find something about me you don't like. You know what I'm saying? And what ended up happening is I started treating new people in my life with the same amount of, I would say militant mindset and posture I had to carry myself with to get through the storm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Me going through that cluster F last year, it made me very, I'll say bitter. Yeah, bitter. I'll say bitter. I don't like bitterness, but it definitely got up in me because that's all I felt was bitterness during that storm last year. I felt betrayed. I felt hatred. And a form of hatred was coming out of me. It was damning people before they can give me a chance to let me
explain
down.
yourself.
Not this, that is, I started damning, like I'm saying, like, because like it was even that, it was like I felt like I had to at one point. I felt this unnecessary pressure to let people know how awful of a person I was before they could even get a chance to fall in love with this new person that I've grown into be. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, I want you to know my genesis before you get to understand my revelations. You know what I'm saying? I want you to like I want you to know about my bondage before I can talk about my exodus. And because in a lot of ways, it's like, yes, I want you to hear my testimony. But sometimes I realize with like just over this year, it was I'm testing people. Oh man, you're such a great person. Like, oh yeah, sure. Okay. We'll try this out. Is this great? You know what I'm saying? You cool with this? You cool that I've you know what I'm saying? It's the because what ended up happening is because I felt rejection so strong, I started rejecting people before they can get a chance to reject me. I started not accepting myself. You know what I'm saying? I started not accepting myself before other people could reject me. You know what I'm saying? Do you hear anything in the background? No, I don't hear anything in the background, bro. Is it on your end or my end?
It's on my end. Like I hear like downstairs, I think one of my family members are listening to some kind of like church program, and it's like really loud, and I can hear it from my room.
Oh, dude, you heard my dog. You heard my dog knucking if you can buck earlier. You be all right. It's okay. That's what editing is for. All good, player. Yeah. All good. But yeah, but that's what started happening for me. It was what ended up happening for me, like with like last year and everything, and it carried on to a lot of my new relationships to this day. Is because somebody saw my brokenness and they were not okay with my brokenness. I was not okay with other people seeing it. Or better yet, I was just not okay with people seeing me, period. I don't want you to get close enough to me. I don't want you. I gave that analogy earlier about, you got to check your kids' skid marks. You got to, you know what I'm saying? I don't even want you in my bubble, in my orbit. I don't want you close enough that you can see my brokenness. I don't want you to see the cracks in my armor. I don't want you to see the rust on my sword. I don't want you to see the chips in my armor. I don't want you to see none of that. Why?
Yeah. Because
if I explain to you how these things got here, I might need to use this sword. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real thing for me. Like I'm just keeping it beanie with you. I was like, if I tell you about my battle scars, I might have to add some more on. And I don't know if I need to add some to you or me. I don't know. But I could not posture myself to take that risk with people anymore, at least in that season of my life over the last year, which I learned is not healthy. Once again, like literally the being like this is not healthy. You know what I'm saying? One of the notes I have on is how are you supposed to put a glove on with a closed fist? You know what I'm saying? How are you supposed to take and grab a hold onto what God is trying to slip onto you when you ready to, you know what I'm saying? that was real. That was real for me. I had to. It did that was like, and you know, this isn't me like trying to like, this isn't me trying to be like, I don't trust you, nigga. Like, I mean, I don't. But but that's real though. Is like, I'm like, dude, I let my guard down one time. I got to a place. I let my guard down one time, and it put me through a storm. I told myself after that storm, I ain't never put my guard down again, which is not healthy.
It isn't.
Which is not healthy, because just like I stated in the beginning of my notes, you have an early encounter of something that feels distrustful. You're going to think every encounter leading after that is going to be distrustful. That is not healthy. There's not wholeness in that. There's not holiness in that. Talking to my disciples of Christ. And there's no way you are going to be okay in your brokenness, because you are not allowing yourself to be okay, because you are not acknowledging your brokenness. You know what I'm saying? You're still holding on. You're still holding on to that storm. You're still upset, and I would say fixating. And this, I'm speaking out of my own experience. So I'll say this: I was fixating on the pain so much. That's all I knew.
Yeah,
all I knew, for sure. What you got for me, Coach K?
Yeah, so that actually, like, that, yeah. Something about that is just that hit different. Like I'm actually thinking about it like right now, like geez, like the way how I've interacted with people over the last year and a half, and some change, I think is reflective of that. You know, like, where I'm not sure the point that you had made that got me. It was the point that was of hold on.
Take your time, King. Take your time.
Lord help me with this. The trauma that you mentioned, on you putting it on other people, or you letting that affect the way how you interact with people, is strong. If you do not deal with it, that will be something that you struggle with. Like, if somebody, as you said, if somebody betrays you, you think that everyone's going to betray you. If somebody hurts you in a certain type of way, you're going to treat people as if they're going to do that. Even something as simple as, like I said, as trust. Like, one thing that has happened to me a lot consistently was on giving people money. And I would always give people money if they asked me for it, with the intention of asking them, you know, like, okay, so when are you going to return the money that I've asked you for? And they would use me in that way, like, oh, I want to give it back to you. Like that. Understand, I don't mind giving people money if they ask me for it and they have no intention of paying me back, and they actually make that clear. But when it's like, I promise I'm going to give you back this money, and months go by, and then a year goes by, and then eventually you start wondering, am I actually going to see this money again? Like, that gets to me, because I don't like to make those kind of promises if I know I'm going to have to keep them, you know? So if I'm giving somebody money and I know for a fact that I have no intention of giving it back, I want to establish with you that like there's if there's some kind of, like, you know, what's the word for it? If there's some kind of thing, like agreement that I have with somebody, I want it to be known. And if you betray that, I have an issue with you, or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm making any good solid points right now.
No, I get it, because like what ends up happening, and I'm kind of like this, and this is where I apply the exegy for this, is like, And this is why I say this is not healthy. And I'm going to throw this in. Think if I was God.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to send everybody to hell because one person sinned.
I mean, yeah, no.
Am I though? I'm saying one. Kyle, you committed a sin. You ain't repent. Everybody else gotta go to hell because of you.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
Get what I'm saying? So like,
in that way, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is like and it sounds like what at one point what was happening with you, and like this is not a judgment or anything by any means, because like I said, I started sentencing people. That's what it was like in my head. I'm like, you're getting beheaded. I'm not dealing with you. You go into the guillotine. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it was so quick. Every time I thought it was a snake, the slightest bit. If somebody showed me some snake tendencies, you getting beheaded, dog. Problem is though, that is not how God's grace and love works.
It doesn't.
Not one bit, bruh. Not one bit. I've had to recognize that is not forgiveness. That is not forgiveness. Because what ends up happening is it's like it's like taking a shower and not using the washcloth. You didn't get the dirt on it. You just got it wet. You didn't get the dirt. Hear me off. You didn't get the dirt off. You just got it wet, B.
Yo.
I'm serious.
No, I'm laughing
yeah,
because of how real it is.
Yeah, but think about it. You didn't get the dirt off. You just got that wet. So then what's happening? You're taking everything that you just dealt with outside and you getting in bed with it. You laying down with it. And whoever is laying down with you with it and doing life with you with it, they're getting dirt on them too. Why? Because you haven't done the work to scrub that off. And that's real, man. Like I say that because it is impossible to connect for me. It is impossible to connect with people and have a clean and sober. Think about this. Apply like my sobriety too. It is impossible to have a clean life with somebody if I won't get that dirt off of me. It is impossible for me to love somebody properly if I got unforgiveness on me. It is impossible to teach somebody about the love of Christ if I got Satan's tactics on my skin. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge it's there. Get that off of you and do something about that. And this isn't me trying to like damn you or anything like that, brother. I'm saying this just off of my own experience. Yeah, man, that I get it. I've learned. I got really convicted like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, if we held everybody to a standard, once again, if we've held everybody to a standard that somebody else dropped the ball in, then why are we playing this game anymore? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I get it. And now that I know you like just giving people money and they say, I'm not paying you back, I want a new camera so we can talk about this after we get off live. I'm so not really, but I don't know. Man, I get it for sure.
What I do now is I pray for discernment on who I give money to or who I give anything to, even my time. One of the things that I had to learn was not everybody needs to have access to you. And so even though your heart's in the good place and you want to make sure that people are well off, you pray for them, you want the best for them, you want them to be, in a better headspace. Like you would, if you needed to, you'd give their own, shirt off of your back if you wanted to, like that level of commitment that you have for people naturally. Sometimes you're not meant to, and it's not because you're not supposed to, but because maybe there's something that the Lord is doing somewhere else or is doing outside of what you can see. Like sometimes I'll go, right? and I'm on the streets of Atlanta and I'll see a homeless person and I want to give them something, but I'm not able to do so at that particular time. Either I don't have the cash on me, I'm in my wallet, or I don't have anything. And then I'm doing an Uber Eats order, and for whatever reason, that person didn't pick up their order, and I have the full order with me. And then I'll hear, "Save that." Okay. And then I go on doing the orders. About maybe an hour or so goes by. Now I'll be right next to a homeless person. Here's the food. Give that to them. You don't know. You don't know exactly for what purpose how things are supposed to work out. Maybe the Lord is sending somebody else for that particular person that you're praying about. Maybe you yourself are not supposed to directly be there for that person at this time or at all, but maybe they may send somebody else. It's a very complex system that I'm noticing, and I don't really question it so much anymore because I start to see how God works. He works in a way that is beyond what we understand, and he does it in a way that's it's so awesome, you know. When you want to help somebody or when you want to do something for somebody, it kind of works itself out in a way. So even that desire that you have, of wanting to be around people, but you needing to take a step back for the moment, just to kind of gauge everything, it's meant to sharpen, or it could be meant to sharpen something. It can be meant just for you to just simply follow an instructions, just to see how you do things. And eventually, I'm not saying you'll understand it, but he'll give you an understanding of it. And you'll start to grow from it.
Yeah, and not even that. What I've also learned is how do I put this delicately?
Just go.
Sometimes
just
we stay
how you would say it.
Sometimes we stay a little longer than we should.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes we try to be God in other people's lives, and we end up becoming a slave to them. And when I say a slave, I'll apply the scripture to this, but even with the book of Exodus, the Jews were supposed to leave a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
God was like, y'all gotta dip. There's this nigga in the third grade. His name is Pharaoh. Not yet, but y'all need to dip. I'm telling you,
it's that strong country accent that you put into it that it makes it even funnier.
Yeah, you need to dip. You need to dip, dog. It's time for you to bounce. And we
what are y'all doing over here?
We'll think because they're so and so. We think because they won't do that. For me, I started after even what I went through last year. I started waiting for these people to come back.
And they didn't.
Oh hell no. Nah, not at all. And thank God I walked away, because now I'm at the season of my life. I don't want them back. I'm good. I got better people in my life now. As terrible as that sounds, I got some better people in my life now, for sure.
I wanted to point something out to you. It's funny how you mentioned, the whole Israel thing, moving through the desert and everything like that. And this is an example that I hope the listeners are tuning into, on how God prepares us. We just touched on that, my cousin Nigel, my cousin Justin, and myself, last week, and we found out that the actual trip from that took them 40 years was meant to be done in 2 weeks, but they didn't follow the instruction. You see? And sometimes, as you said, you stay a little bit longer than you're supposed to. Sometimes we're only meant to be there for a day, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe only a year. But then we end up going longer because we don't follow the instruction. because we don't listen to what is being instructed of us, and we end up suffering for it. I don't think it's God's intention to have us to suffer, you know. I think the suffering, well, I mean, to an extent, there is some things that we have to go through in order to change. You know, there was this post on Instagram that my cousin sent me, and he was saying, you know, you ask for wisdom, and then he puts you in situations where you have to be wise, or you know, if you know, you ask to be a problem solver, and he gives you problems to solve, and you know,
Whew, you talking now, boy. Good Lord.
yeah. Yeah. So we ask for these things, right? And he puts us in situations where we think like we're asking him, like, why are we in this situation? Like, I asked to be wiser, I asked to be a lot more diligent, I asked to be a lot more patient. And I realize that
I'll give my own caveat for that. I'll give my own caveat for that.
Everything
I asked God, show me how. God, give me so much love in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
I have dealt with the most hateful people in the most recent like months. And I mean, they got so much hate in them. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, God, what the what the is this? I'm like, God, I just want to be the nicest person in the world. That's some mean. I'm like, y'all niggas is mean. My goodness. And
but look,
I think like it's the truth though. It's like you ask God, make me rich, and guess what?
You go through everything that makes you poor.
You gonna not even that. You gonna meet some people that need a rich friend or need, and not even just rich on a monetary status. They might need somebody who's rich in emotional intelligence, and they themselves are ineligible or ill-equipped in those areas. And it's funny how that works out, bro. Like, it's just crazy. It's wild how that works out. Hey, what the hell? Hey, moderators, don't worry about it. We're not acknowledging it. Moderators, can you take care of that, please?
Okay.
That's wild. One of the things I have for notes is, without fully realizing it, many of us fear vulnerability inherent in such closeness. We may yearn for intimacy with God that we believe would quiet our fears, strengthen our confidence, and reassure our faith, but we are afraid of intimacy when we realize it would also expose our inadequacies and make us vulnerable to loss. That was me all. I'm talking. I mean, I'm still kind of there. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I'm still there. I would say is like, do I really want to take on this new relationship and risk losing somebody? Or better yet, do I want to risk building a life with this person, whether platonically or romantically, and risk having to lose them? You know what I'm saying? That's real. That was a really real thing. Moderators, are y'all handling this nonsense in the good Lord? Let me take care of this real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking at them comments. I'm just like, geez.
Yeah,
what is going on here?
Yeah, but bro, this is welcome to the jungle. You know what I'm saying? Welcome to the jungle of must be doing something right to get this opposition.
Yeah.
But yeah, B. I think Andy Mineo said that must be doing something right to get this opposition. Meaning I should go the hardest when I feel like quitting. But yeah. Somebody took care of it. I don't know who did, but just in case. There we go. I don't know why on earth.
You have now been blocked by Kid Casper. Oh, jeez. I love using that voice.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't, damn it. Oh my God. I need you to send me a voice recording of that. Well, matter of fact, I'll just clip it out of here. And shut up. Oh, here, try to take the credit. Be quiet. Be quiet. Before I put you in timeout. Good
well,
Lord.
Kiki, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, whatever. She all right. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, B. There's
I'll
there's
send you
this.
a clip of that if you want it though.
Oh yeah, I want to get me one of my investments that I want like through like Patreon is get a stream deck where I could hit buttons. Like I want to like if I agree with something, you know, I'm big into Sega as you can see on my background and stuff. I want to say something that's like I want if somebody says something that's like, "Oh my god, that was so true." I wanted to read like you know how it says like Sega, but instead it goes that part. Like that would be lit in a you know what I'm saying? That'd be so perfect. You understand me? I need to just get a couple of filters and get that down. But yeah, yo.
Yeah, hit me up after the chat. We'll talk.
I got you. I got you. One of the things, one of these people I follow closely, Bruce R. McConkie said, "We don't need to think everlastingly about God, our eternal Father, as being an omnipotent, almighty, glorified person. We might do better to think of God, our Father, as just that, as a father. As a personal being who faces what we have seen and in whose household we have dwelt, and whose voices we have heard, whose teaching we have learned before ever we were born into this life. We could choose, heal, and deepen our relationship with God, our Father, and his Son, Jesus Christ. We do this more really as we better understand the impact of our mortal relationships on our assumptions about love. And as we change our minds about the fears our relationships have taught us to harbor, and as we repent, forgive, work, and receive so God can meet our truest needs."
Yeah.
I thought something that was kind of wild about the notes is, like I said, I was just kind of allowing the Spirit to like move through me as I wrote this. Because believe it or not, Coach Kyle, I wrote this back in like October. I have it dated. This is the third installment as far as this lesson. I wrote this back in the third installment as far as like the notes for that I'm using for this on December 6th, 2020. I could show you right now, matter of fact. It's funny how the Spirit kind of works out. But right here, if you could see it on the big screen, yep, right here. December 6th, 2020.
This is your own personal blog?
This is my own, like, these are my own, like, devotions and stuff like that. Sometimes God just speaks to me, and, you know, I try to honor when the Spirit's just speaking to me and everything like that, because I don't know when I'm going to need to apply it. But yeah, I think in, like, one thing that's funny, like, as, like, you know, I was sitting here tapping into the Spirit and everything like that, is the term harbor. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you used to live in Baltimore at one point, right?
I used to live near it. I used to live in Prince George's County, and then I think
so you lived in PG. First off,
for
how come y'all ain't allowed
a brief second?
How come y'all not allowed to have bulldogs? What did y'all do?
I don't know. I don't listen. I didn't do nothing. Shoot, the last time I was in PG, I got chased by a dog.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
They were like, look at this crying about being chased by a dog. Now we got to ban all the pit bulls in the state of Maryland in just this area, just because of you. Thanks a lot. So PG County, if you're listening, because we do have some listeners from PG County, it's all Coach Kyle's fault. But I don't recommend you messing with. I don't recommend you messing with him because he's cock diesel and he's got veins in his earlobes. So don't mess with him because he is not the one of the two. He follows the one, but he will hit you with this one too. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. But yeah, yo,
man, that's the third time. That's the third time you ragging on me.
I mean, it's not ragging on you. It's me complimenting you, but I'm doing it in comical ways. That way, you don't get weirded out by me just shooting you a compliment. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
But yeah,
listen, I'll take it. I'll take it.
But yeah, the funny thing about the funny thing that like I wrote right here. Let me zoom in a little bit, and I'll even put it back on the big screen just so it can I can kind of drive it home for a second. Where's the zoom button? There we go. There we go. That's the Zoom button. I can't talk like that. What do you got to smoke cigarettes backwards to talk like that, Ken? How the hell do you talk like that? That don't make no doggone sense. Don't make no doggone sense. That hurt.
Just doing the voice.
Yeah, I was trying to, but it don't help because I've been hitting this Hennessy ginger ale. It's not Hennessy in here, but it hits hard like Hennessy. It's like that Sprite at McDonald's at 3:00 in the morning for no reason. Good God.
Listen, man, years of practice.
Yeah. God bless you. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. But let me see. Let me drive this. Let me bring this back real quick. And where to go? I thought this was interesting. We can choose. Is it highlighting? I mean, like, is you highlighting? Damn. We could choose to heal or deepen our relationship with God. You know what I'm saying? Our Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. This is for those that, hopefully this is just convicting people as far as like convicting those that, are supposed to be disciples of Christ and everything like that. That's really who I'm talking to on this. But for those that are seeking and for those that are just, and if you want, one of the things I love to say is like, God is love. So if you want to grab onto some sense of love, this does apply to you. So hear me out when I'm driving this home. Please don't attack me. And if you say something wild to me on social media, you're gonna get blickety blocked. And if you want to say something to me, sign up for the Patreon. It's $2. Give me your 2 cents. You heard me. We do more readily as we better understand the impact of our mortal relationships. Let me highlight that real quick. There we go. And our mortal relationships on our assumptions about love. As we change our minds about the fears of relationships have taught us to harbor. One words I like to use when I think about the word harbor, K, is when you think of harbor, you think of something you're trying to preserve. You know what I'm saying? What ends up happening when you preserve something, we know about that wine skin. We know about wine. What happens when you preserve something, it ends up permeating and fermenting into something stronger. So when you preserve these negative emotions and these feelings, it ends up being permeated and fermenting into something stronger. So something that can be bitterness can turn into hatred.
Yeah.
Something that can turn into a little bit of pain can turn into anguish.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Something that you've tried to grab hold to, and you've something so little, it can become very, very stronger when you harbor it and you try to preserve it. You know what I'm saying? That's what we don't realize. Sometimes we think that sometimes when we put it on our shelf and it's going to expire with more time on the shelf, but ends up, I won't even say mutating, just evolving into something that can end up happening if you have it too long on your shelf in your life. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. And the reason I highlighted that for a second is because you can allow something, some sense of bitterness, some type of hatred, malice you have in your heart, anger, all these things that you can have on your heart. It can end up fermenting into something even worse. And when I say it's something even worse, it will have longer lasting effects. Going back to that storm analogy that Pastor Stephen gave. Yeah, you went through that storm, but that storm went through you too. You know what I'm saying? Something that you once used to use to feed yourself is now eating. It's eating you. You know what I'm saying? It is feeding off of you now. You know what I'm saying? You let it. Sometimes we can allow things because we go through a season of brokenness, distrust, betrayal. It will end up being fermented into something inside of us that is eating away at our spirit, our mental health, our emotional health, physical. Like when I told you, I told you last year. After that shit happened, I was not eating well. Not really eating that much better nowadays. Because one day I'm be good. I had a salad last night, and then I had hip hop chicken for dinner. Yesterday, I had hip hop chicken yesterday.
Hold on. Hip hop chicken. What is that?
Hip hop chicken. Hip hop. What?
What is hip hop chicken?
Keep in mind.
Keep in mind. Live in the South. All right. Bojangles is about as deep as it goes.
Cool.
All right.
You come back up here.
Okay.
There's a kitchen. Ain't even no black people in this one. At least the one that I went to, the one in Edgewood. There's like a bunch of Hispanic brothers, some Puerto Ricans, some Mexicans. Not kidding, because I got to talk to them. You about to be put D on it. It's okay. It's all right. It's okay. But what I was saying is like, you know, because things have long lasting effects, it can end up becoming not even an effect. It could be culture at that point. You know what I'm saying? I ain't used to eat this bad. You know what I'm saying? I ain't used to eat this bad. I'm just saying I ain't used to eat this bad. How I dealt with something that I thought was gonna be temporary ended up becoming a lifestyle. End up becoming a palate. You know what I'm saying? I don't drive I don't drive 20 plus minutes to get cheese curds anymore. It's 5 minutes from my house, but I'm not eating cheese curds anymore. You know what I'm saying? Them things was had my skin looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't good at all. But yeah, one thing that I really want to like, I want people to really grab hold to is when I say like the art of letting go, that's for you. It's not for anybody else. You know what I mean? It's I say it to people like, let me take my bold. You know what? Canada Dry, cut me a check. I'm just saying. I got 2 for buy one, get one free. That's besides the point. I'm trying to drive this home. Please give me some grace. But yeah, but I think that's so real though. It's like, if you want to, I mean, like, if you want to get to a place where you are okay in your brokenness, is you gotta be. Things are gonna break your heart. Things are gonna break your trust, and things are going to break your time. Things are gonna break your mind in some cases. You know what I'm saying? Some of these things that broke these things in you, on you, beside you. You gotta let that shit break off. Hear me out. No. Hear me out.
No, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the comments. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, bro, just drink the damn. I am drinking it. It's fire. Stop judging me. Meg Griffin. Shut up, Meg. No, I was talking to you anyway. I'm getting another cup. You know what I'm saying? This thing got me living risky. What y'all do? Canada Dry, they on to something. I don't even mind the fact that it tickles my inside of my nose when I drink it. This hit. Anyway, I'm dangerous.
Added more carbonation to it. I don't know. It sounds like it tastes good. I kind of want some now,
bro. I'm telling you, they make it in the mountains of jalapenos. I don't know. It just got a spice. It's spicy for some reason. I don't know. Oh my god! Lord. And then your burps.
It comes up to your nose. Yeah,
little bit. This is some spicy shit, boy. I'm just saying, you got to drink it out of a cup like this. Why not? Mind your business.
Might as well drink it out of a cup like that. Shoot, that's some gourmet stuff.
It is. But I think that's so real when we're talking about you gotta let those things break off of you. When I say like the notes I have, you know, we do this more readily as we better understand the impact of our mortal relationships on our assumptions about love. You gotta let your experience be an experience, not an education. You know what I'm saying? You learned a lesson from that experience. That does not mean that it is academic. You know, it's not a universal knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we go through something and it put us in a place of brokenness, and we think that's all that area comes with. No, that just means that somebody didn't steward that environment, and there was somebody that decided to make a flagrant foul in that game, but that does not mean that the game is only full of flagrant fouls. Some people do know how to score properly and play the game correctly. But it's very easy to do so. you gotta recognize whether or not the storm you went through is still, if it's in you or not. You know, I don't know if you listen to Maverick City Music, brother Kyle. There's this one thing that Lecrae said. I don't want to misquote him, but I'm trying to like freestyle it off the top of my head. He said was some of us can be removed from slavery in an instance in our lifetime, but it could take a lifetime to get the slavery removed from us. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about with Noah. I don't know how long Noah went through that. Talking about from my own trauma, I don't know how long this way of thinking is gonna haunt me in the ways that it does. And I don't know how long like the events of last year and everything I went through are going to haunt me in the ways it does. But if you are not attentive to these very things that are happening around you, it can somehow, you thinking you removed yourself out of the situation and you don't think that the situation didn't get inside of you. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you remove yourself from the situation and the circumstance, and make sure you remove the circumstance and the situation out of you at the same time. Because what will end up happening is what they did, what I did mention earlier, for me, my trauma, I bled on people that didn't cut me. You know what I'm saying? Noah, he ended up cursing one of his son's kids, which can end up becoming the Canaanites. We forget that part. We forget that that Noah cursed his Old Testament was a little too gangster for me. Like, made fun of me for being drunk. Can you imagine how Jersey Shore would have turned out if this was in the Old Testament?
Oh no!
Do you understand that
we'd all be in trouble?
Yeah, I mean, people made fun of her. Anyway, that's besides the point. I hope you're doing well.
Besides the point.
That's besides the point. It was just for comic relief. It was getting a little too heavy. I'm talking about cursing children now. I just want to throw in Jersey Shore theology. I don't know if that made sense. Shut up.
Sounded good at the time.
But that it you got to be careful when navigating through these spaces and storms, because you might think because you made it out of it, you are okay. But you got to make sure it makes its way out of you too.
Yeah.
You know, because that me reflecting on everything, I was like, oh, cool. That didn't kill me.
But
you know what I'm saying? The weapon that cut me did not kill me, but I had to make sure I didn't become the very thing that I put myself through. I felt an extreme amount of hatred, but me operating in bitterness, it may be just a smaller version of the sword that cut me, but I still essentially became the knife.
Can we touch on that?
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, because that actually that's powerful. You have to be very careful about that, because if you're not very careful on those things that cut you, you end up using that to cut other people. As you said, this whole thing that's been happening, I realized somewhere around, I want to say June to July. No, actually, it was around August, I want to say. I began to. There's this quote from The Dark Knight: "You either die a hero, or you start to live long enough to see yourself become the villain." I was starting to see myself become the villain. I was becoming cold. I was becoming very callous, and I started to not care. And eventually, I had to tear myself away from that and just figure out what I was doing, because that happens. You get cut enough times, eventually you become numb to the cuts. But sometimes what ends up happening as a result of being numb to them cuts, it cuts a vital organ.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're not the way that you're supposed to operate. You're depleted.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that I'm hoping that people learn, if they take from this, is that if you can take some time away from everybody else, separate, and figure out what the source of these pains or these traumas are coming from, so that you can move into the places that you're supposed to be in.
Yeah, for sure. It's and I think like the big thing is when I talk about like what happened last year for me, is just allowing is and it goes back to like God's grace is not sentencing. Stop making people pay the penance for other people's penalties.
Yeah.
You know, we'll talk when we get off camera, because there's some stuff I can't talk about online.
Yeah.
But when I say that is there's some people that are just trying to bless me, but I keep assuming that just because there were some people at one point that did bless me, but then they end up cursing me, I assume that they're going to curse me, and what ends up happening, that creates this division, creates this distance, and I might be hindering something that God is trying to give me through somebody else, but because I'm still holding on to I'm allowing my experience to seem like it's educational, but it wasn't. It was an experience. You know, your experience is not legislative. Your experience is not your experience is not gospel. You know what I'm saying? But it's very easy for that to happen. So yeah, this is what being okay in my brokenness looks like, in a sense. I don't think that I'm gonna stop with this. Just like this specific subject, because there's so many layers to brokenness, and there's so many ways of trying to find some sense of wholeness and a sense of holiness in your brokenness. But I think this was good. I think how this came out. I think how this came out was good. Yeah. What you think? What you think of the direction of like this series? What you think about this?
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was definitely a little bit hard to follow in the beginning for me, because I was trying to figure out how to word some of my sentences and thought processes, but it ended up working itself out in the end. So yeah, I like it.
All things work together. I think it's what Romans. Is it Romans 8:28? Yes. 8 verse 8. Chat. You know what I'm talking about? All things work together. That I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
We just read Romans today too. I think it was chapter 4.
Oh my God! Look at us not for remembering our Bible. Good Lord. All things work together. Yep. Romans 8. I was right. Romans 8:28. Romans 8:28. Yep. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are called according to his purpose. We didn't really need to take control of how this was supposed to go, Coach Kyle, because, and I quote, God was in this driver's seat. We was along for the ride. You know what I'm saying? This went exactly how it was supposed to go.
Yeah. So that's how it's supposed to go.
Exactly.
Don't try to dictate it. Just let it flow.
Let it flow. Let it flow. Which is funny because I haven't seen that movie at all, and I don't plan on seeing it because I love myself.
No. Yeah.
Not putting myself through that. All right, listen to what was that Lil Nas X song? I can't think about it right now. The one with Billy Ray Cyrus. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anyway, I'd rather listen to that 10 times over than Frozen one time.
Well, yeah.
I know it's gonna catch me some hell when I get out of here and I call somebody. Oh well, fight me. But yeah,
round one. Get ready, fight.
I can't with you. I cannot, bro. But yeah, man. This was good, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming out. You know what I'm saying? I know we Old Town Road. That's what it was. Old Town Road. Yeah. All right, listen to that. Anytime over Frozen. At least it got a nice beat to it. Tired of hearing children sing.
Wait, technically she was an adult, was it? You know what? I'm not even gonna get into it. I don't know. I don't watch Frozen.
I don't know.
I saw.
I mean, the person
Moana.
that voiced Tommy, the person that voiced Tommy from the Rugrats was a grown woman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't unhear Tommy when she showed up in like movies and like I think she was on an episode of Friends at one point too. I'm not sure, but yeah, yeah, randomness. Yeah, she was on an episode. Of Friends. I'm not kidding. She was. I think so. I don't know.
Really?
But she definitely sounds like she probably orders food from Chick-fil-A and they're like, "Is that Tommy?"
Okay.
Like, no, it's Elizabeth. Give me my damn chicken deluxe sandwich. I don't know. But yeah, man. This was good. I think if I'm not mistaken, you said you are free tomorrow by chance? Yes? No?
Yes, more or less. It just depends on the time. If it's later in the evening, more than likely, yes. If
Okay. I think tomorrow tomorrow you might have to come back for round 2. Tomorrow's subject matter is so you know that phrasing I'm always saying ever since I've known you, the phrasing I've always been saying, I'm a Christian first and a black man second. You probably heard me say that sentiment a couple of times.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, I don't say that anymore. No. I realized that there was a sense of, I don't know how to describe it, because we never tell our other counterparts of a lighter or just no hue at all. Oh, you're fill this race card here, man or woman first. I mean, you're like second to Christ above. Blackness is not flesh. You know what I'm saying? My blackness is not flesh. That doesn't mean that my blackness comes with a morality clause, but I'm like, so this will be interesting because I'm pretty much opening the discussion to other disciples of Christ that fall within the diaspora. You are welcome back here tomorrow. I'm titling the episode Unashamedly Christian, Unapologetically Black. And that's like, that's like open to the diaspora that are disciples of Christ. And we're just gonna talk. It's gonna be fun. We'll see how that conversation goes. It might get spicy.
All right.
Brother Howard, if you want in on this too, let me know. But yeah. So what are you doing tomorrow, sir?
I mean, if it's the same time, I'm available.
More than likely, it's gonna be bold Canada Dry. It's gonna be spicy.
Oh. Say less.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. This was good. This was fruitful. I don't normally do podcasts on Mondays. Oh yeah, it gonna be we pulling baby hairs in the name of Jesus. It's gonna be lit. But thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. This was dope. Hopefully somebody, people got something out of this. I'm gonna clip this up and like give lesson points and different things, but I'm also gonna leave the full episode up in case anybody wanted to just watch the full thing, watch the playback after the live ends. But this was good. Had a good friend of the channel, Coach Kyle from the Bronx, even though he's living in Atlanta, and I gotta put him on the hip hop chicken. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, send me a link. Let me check it out.
I don't think you got one in the A, but you come out of here. I'll drive you around, dog. I got you.
Okay.
But yeah, hip hop.
All right, looking forward to it.
That's the move, and make sure you have Carmex on. You can't.
Make sure I have what on?
Huh?
Make sure I have what?
Carmex.
Carmex.
Is it Max or is it Mex?
I don't. You telling the wrong.
We're not
person.
doing this. Don't tell me you're not about to tell me I've been enunciating it wrong for you. Is the car Mex or Max? Somebody Google that right now before we go offline. Yes, the ashy lips. You can't have fried chicken with ashy lips. Why is this not a gospel thing? Why does everybody in the chat have a demonic spirit in them? Why are you fighting ashy lips? Stop having ashy lips. Is Mex. Okay, good. Out here questioning my discernment. What's wrong with this dude? It was about to turn into a debate. Good Lord. I was like, Mex? It's definitely Mex. It's definitely Mex. You heard me. But yeah, thank you everybody that was tuning in tonight. If you aren't already, please consider signing up for the Patreon. Partner with us with what we're doing at Tetelestai Incorporated. It's just $2 to join in, get you some incentives, get you some discounts off of some merchandise, get some early drops on exclusive content and everything like that. Coach Kyle from the Bronx said he's gonna be back here at tomorrow's. We gonna come back. He might be wearing that same black shirt. If he does, what you gonna say to him? He's gonna curl you in the name of Jesus. Don't talk to him. Talk to him nice, or don't talk to him twice. He's big and he loves himself now. So we're not. So yeah. Thank you everybody. This was great. Always remember you are beautiful, blessed, and beloved. Raisins don't go on potato salad. Hold on. Kyle, guys, do you put mayonnaise on peas?
What are you talking about?
Do you put mayonnaise on peas?
Why would I do that?
Why would you not do that though?
I'm just where are you getting at with this?
We'll talk when we get.
Okay, please, because I don't want to.
We'll talk about this when we get offline.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Raisins don't go on potato salad, and Jesus wasn't white. Have a good night.